Hello, hello, good evening and welcome one and all to another episode of the British Hive Mind with me, sat here in my usual place, doing my usual thing. Now, as you see from the title, I'd like to spend a little bit of time this evening talking to you all about the television. Because if you've seen on my little YouTube channel, made a little off-prompt shoot video today of me smashing a television. Smash the television. The television it's a programming tool, and it's been there. It's been researched. It was researched way before they even brought it out for it to be a subliminal programming tool, a way to control and dictate the narrative, and a way to educate people in a certain way to make them think en masse, make them all believe the same things en masse, and be taught the same things that everyone else is taught, to control the narrative, to make sure the people were only focused on things that the government and the corporations wanted you to focus upon. We see this time and time again with the way that the news isn't the news. The news is what they want you to think and want you to see as the news. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to see. They want to make it so you believe the lies that they tell you. You know, I've seen my viewer ratings go down. Well, mainly because I'm banned as Dave Wolf now, but we need to snap away and get away from the television. You know, how many people out there in the wide world are sat in front of the television now watching, I don't know, fucking chuffing Love Island or something bullshit like that, or Gogglebox. Let's sit around watching people watching TV. Really? Or back in the day when it was Big Brother, let's sit around in a room watching people sitting around in a room. All this reality TV BS. Oh, you know, some of the shows like freaking some of the reality TV shows that are a real affront to culture, a real affront to reality. You know, like the Jersey Shore and the Geordie Shore, just showing stupid people doing stupid. Oh, because that's what they love. That's what they love. That's what the television loves. They love to show you stupid people. They love to show you the unintelligent, the uninformed, because it makes you somehow feel like you're better. It was designed that way. And they do it to program you to make you feel a little bit better about yourself. You know, these disgusting shows like Jeremy Kyle and what's his name, Jerry Springer and shit like that. You know, to poke fun at people's problems and poke fun and make you feel aggrandized and make you feel better about your own pathetic little life. I'm not saying that to my viewers, because you're probably all quite smart, quite intelligent people and don't really particularly watch the freaking TV shows, because you snapped out of it. You're awake. You've come out of the matrix. You've come out from this programmed world where it's you go out, you work all day, you work your ass off all day, come home, get something to eat, and put the TV on and try to relax. And that's when your mind is most open and most accepting, when you're there trying to relax. So this government narrative, this government propaganda, this multicultural hoity-toity BS, everybody's equal narrative that they want to force down your throat is easily accepted. And it's the way that it was used. It's the way that it's been targeted. It's the way that it's there to program you. It's there to give you the viewpoint it wants you to have, to give you the mindset it wants you to have, to focus on the problems it wants you to focus upon, and focus on some maybe pithy little solutions that they might have in place. You know, and now we're seeing it more and more used, and we're actually awakening to the fact that it is being used as a propaganda tool, as a corporate government propaganda tool, to make you think, make you feel in a certain way. You know, we go back a few years now to the start of the migrant crisis. What happened then? Oh, we had every right to go and bomb Syria for some odd reason. The government and the news were telling us that it's good for us to go and destabilize these countries and go dethrone the elected president of this country. And then, we get the migrant boats coming over, and they were forcing down our throat the narrative that there's women and children upon these boats, and there's people drowning and children drowning in the Mediterranean. So we have to feel sorry for them. They're the victims here, and we have to open our borders and let them all flood in. And now we're seeing the results of this. How many times have we seen the propaganda tool used to try to influence our votes and try to influence our voting habits? Christ, the Project Fear based around the EU Remain vote was utterly ridiculous. It was madness. It was complete lies. The Skirples event, complete lies. The entire Russian narrative, complete lies. You know, we don't think we've got it as bad as the Americans. Because their media is a lot more bap them on the head with falsehoods. And as long as we keep telling this falsehood, and as long as we keep promoting this falsehood, and as long as we keep going on and on and on and on and on about the same freaking thing, the more the American people will believe us. Whereas ours, the British media, is a lot more subtle with the way that it works. It's getting a lot less subtle at the moment, but it was a lot more subtle in the way that it worked, in the way that it fed us the information it wants us to digest, and it fed us the views and the opinions it wanted us to have. And we now even see it. They're trying to use our comedians against us. They're trying to push these left-wing thoughts, these left-wing ideologies, these left-wing multicultural, you're a racist if you're against open borders sort of views through our comedians, because comedy is a great form of expression. Comedy is a great form of having a look at society and having a laugh at it. And people listen to comedians a lot more than they listen to the news narrators. They listen to the comedians and they actually respect and digest their opinions as well. You know, a comedian has a lot more power to influence a narrative than your news broadcaster, than your documentary person, because the comedian is able to shift it into a way that is palatable, a lot more palatable to the asleep masses. You know, even supposed cutting edge, you know, knife edge sort of comedians that were once quite to the bone and quite funny, like Frankie Boyle. I've seen his show a couple of times, and it's full of left-wing rats, and it's full of his left-wing narrative and anti-Trump bullshit. All of this sort of narrative that they want to force down your throat. You know, the Have I Got News for You used to be quite informative when in its comedy. Now it's just government bullshit narrative, lefty narratives, and yeah, Trump's a racist and like that. You know, they're trying to force feed us this crazy narrative that only suits them. They won't show our events. They won't show our rallies. They won't show anyone that has a right-wing opinion. They won't show them. And if they do show them, they're outnumbered 2-1. And then they're mocked for their opinions and their ideology and their beliefs. They're mocked for it. You know, and it always seems that the lefties, they always get the final word on it. They always get the final word on things. You know, so it's even permeated now. I said it's television, but it's now permeated into radio. So your radio talk show hosts are coming out with stupid left-wing narratives, and what they do and what they say is all lies. It's cultural Marxism on a grand scale. You know, I've been told by a few of my friends, if you ever get in front of a TV camera or any chance of interview, bring up cultural Marxism in every sentence, in every possible way that you can, because then they can't show it. They can't do anything with it, you know. And I had a laugh to say, well, wear an analog watch and keep that analog watch in front of your face so so anyone and everyone can see the continuity of it and can see that they're cutting it and editing it. So as the second hand moves or the minute hand moves, everybody can see that they've cut it and edited it into a way that they want to portray. You know, Tommy Robinson had that freaking great interview when he went with the BBC, and he's there live streaming it. And you saw the look on his face, this interviewer's face, when he knew that he couldn't cut, shut, edit it to paint Tommy in a bad light. That was a great move by Tommy. He's made some poor moves, but that was a great move that he did. That was a great move he made, you know. And we're seeing more and more of us now. So it's now actually going out there and confronting the news media people, going out there and confronting these journalists and talking to them and saying, well, how are you going to portray this event? Or how are you going to cut and edit this in a way that it suits your narrative? You know, mocking them, laughing at them, because comedy is another great tool and a great strength that we have on our side as well. Because if we can start to make jokes, make fun, and laugh at the liberal elites, laugh at the Islamists, laugh at the stupid views, and laugh at the massive holes in the left-wing narrative, massive holes in the left-wing ideology, and massive holes where they can't debate us. They can't win any argument or debate with us because they are wrong. Big government is not the solution to our problems. Big government is the freaking foundation of our problems. And it's the television and the media is one of our biggest, maybe even the biggest problem that we have. One of our biggest hurdles to overcome is the media narrative. We own the meta narrative. But we need to be able to broadcast it on a wider scale. You know, I'd love to be able to, because how many people out there are using Cordy now? Instead of watching, you know, shitty terrestrial or Sky TV, they've upgraded and they've got into Cordy. They've got an Amazon Fire Stick, or they've got something, or an Android TV where they're using Cordy. Now, if we could get a Cordy broadcast or something that we could, you know, put onto Cordy and broadcast real news and real articles and real shows like this, we could start to get more people involved and more people awake to it and more people watching the right sort of things that we want them to watch. You know, YouTube is a great tool that we have. It's being censored. It's being monitored. It's being demonetized for anyone who promotes the right sort of thoughts and facts. You know, I think it was even in Sweden. They've now brought out a new law of, instead of just hate speech, there's hate facts. So if you report that 90% of rape cases in Sweden are committed by Muslim immigrants, that's a fact, but it's a hate fact, so you can't report upon it. The EU itself has, we've seen with the Article 11 and Article 13, they're trying to strangle the media, strangle the internet, but they've also put the stranglehold on the media as well. So if any journalist wants to report bad things about the EU, its roots, its heritage, its plans, its tyrannical dictatorship, its pathetic bureaucracy, its rules and regulations that are completely freaking loony, You know, you've got your cucumber's got to be this long, and it's got to be a straight cucumber. It can't be a bent cucumber, with these stupid, ridiculous regulations that they put in place. If any journalist from the mainstream media tries to report upon it, they lose the job. They can even go into prison. It's like freaking EU blasphemy laws, for crying out loud. It's and without a media outlet, without a way to broadcast things to the wider public, to the I don't like calling them sheeple, but to the normies, to the people that aren't awake, to the ones that are still in their bubbles and think the world's nice and happy and everything's going correctly and everything's going right, and it's ever so progressive. These sort of people are the ones that need to fucking wake up. These are the ones that we need to talk to. These are the ones that we need to confront their mentality, confront their ideology, and confront their indoctrinated brainwashing. And that goggle box in the corner of the screen, and screen in the corner of the room, it's the most popular thing. Every house has, well, almost every house has got a television. Almost every person in the UK will sit and watch 2, 3, 4 hours of television a day. Some people watch 12, 13 hours of television a day. And if we can get onto this platform in a different way, yes, we can start to change the narrative. Yes, we can start to show the people the truth, because the truth will always win. We can see with the censorship laws, we can see with the stranglehold, we can see with the way that they're abusing and manipulating the free press and media, that they are afraid of the truth. They have lied and piled on lie after lie after lie after lie, that if the truth ever got out there, they'd be hung. They've committed such awful atrocities to us as a nation that we would rise up, revolt, and demand that they face justice. And it's coming. I can hope and I can see and I can know that it's coming. The Great Awakening is happening. It's just not happening at the pace that I want to see. I'm still getting people on Facebook. I'm still getting people on the street that I know, they know that something's wrong. They know that something's not quite right with the world. And they know that something's niggling them, but they don't know what it is, and they don't know how to solve it, and they're very easily led. So if you put a scapegoat in place, they're going to focus more upon the scapegoat or the person they've thrown under the bus, rather than the people that are actually freaking ruining it, and telling them these lies. It's a difficult bridge to cross, because to have a TV broadcaster, have a TV show, and make a TV channel, it's going to take a buckload of money, a buckload of effort, and a buckload of people behind it, And we don't have those resources. We don't have that influence. We don't have that sort of power yet. But once we can get the right people into governance, the right people into the right places, we can bring down the Murdoch empire. We can bring down B Sky B. We can bring down the BBC. We can bring down ITV, Channel 4, and all of these lying, disgusting scumbags that are literally subjugating the people through deception. They're trying to promote the fact that being a slave is correct. Being a slave, being a debt slave is the right thing to do. How many times have you seen adverts come on the TV? Oh, it really annoys me, this. Payday loan, gambling, payday loan with 3,000% interest on your usury payday loan. You see it in almost every advertisement break, an advert for gambling or an advert for payday loans or banking. or I even remember, I think it was a Subway frigging advert where it was a guy and it was just wake up, work, have your dinner, go to bed, wake up, work. And it was promoting this to be the right way to do things, the right way to live. Wake up, work, yeah. Be a freaking ant, be a slave to society, be a debt slave, and never own anything in your actual entire life. And just stick to the system. You know, it's stuff like this that needs to be quashed, needs to be stopped. It's promoting this affront to freedom. And how many adverts have we seen that are multicultural? Goddamn multicultural adverts with a multicultural family, or Muslims celebrating Christmas, or, you know, these sort of adverts that have always got mixed race couples, and they're trying to force the Kalergi plan down our throat and try to it's white genocide. It truly is. And it's trying to promote it through the media. It's trying to promote the destruction of the white race through interbreeding and destruction of our culture as well. The media loves to focus in on the weak points of our culture and the weak points of our society, but it likes to poke fun at them. It likes to badmouth them, you know. So it's excessive drinking, it's adultery, it's friggin', you got your soap operas that promote this sort of behavior. You know, the soap operas are one of the worst pro-life. These are normal people doing normal things in normal life when they're, you know, they're not also on the television as well. You know, it's, yeah. And then you've got this celebrity culture where these know-nothing idiots that have got to fame through a freaking sex tape or shite like that, or have been on a reality TV show, and they're actual freaking idiots, and they are being seen as role models. Or your thicko freaking football player, your thicko football star is being seen as a role model to the youth, to the young people, to the children. Or freaking pop stars. So even some pop stars can't even sing. They can't even sing. They have to be tuned and auto-tuned and corrected the voices to make them sound in tune. And these people are being promoted as role models, as something that you want to aspire to. Whereas what we should really be, promoting and getting people to aspire to are, your factory workers, your engineers, your doctors, your solicitors, your people that actually, well, not solicitors particularly, but your people that actually, even bin men should be a better role model than a football player, because they are real people doing real work, actually helping the community and actually helping people in the real world. Yes, a football player might donate money to charity. Woo. We know what charities are, and we know what charities are like. How much are the freaking bosses of these charities on? I think the boss for cancer research is on 200 grand a year. And I'll do another show on charities. That's a whole dedicated little area, is charities and NGOs and NWO, yeah, and all them. We'll do another show on that another time. But yeah, so what? These multi-millionaires are giving a little bit of money away to charity. What they fucking do. And they try to expect us to give money to charity as well, when we're living barely able to pay the rent, barely able to pay off a mortgage, barely able to live a life that's not even luxury, a life of strife. And these people are living the life of luxury in beautiful mansions. And yes, I think it's actually part of a Bible story where a rich man gives somebody loads of money, and then the poor man gives them a penny, and the poor man is seen in higher esteem because the poor man had given everything he'd got, rather than somebody giving throwaway money. Yeah, but so it's the television. The television is promoting this sort of a skewed vision and a skewed view of life, and these pipe dreams. No, not even pipe dreams. The frigging sky high stratosphere dreams that nobody's gonna, 1 in a million people is going to be able to aspire to these dreams. Whereas everybody else, their dream's going to fall flat on their face, and they're never going to make it. And it's, this whole sort of, the American dream, well, at its basic core, is a good one. But the British dream now is, I want to be a celebrity. I want to be a film star. I want to be, I want to be a football player or a rugby player. Yeah. Some people will make it. And yes, it is a better form of entertainment than shitty soap operas. But still, football is a massive distraction. Massive distraction. Most sports are a massive distraction. Most TV shows, mostly everything is just a massive distraction to keep your eyes over here looking at the flashy things, rather than seeing what's actually happening, what's actually real in the real world, and how your rights, your liberties, how your lifestyle, how your welfare, your well-being, your health is all deteriorating. It's there to distract you away from the people stealing from you, because that's what they're doing. The government, the elites, they are blatantly, simply stealing from you, stealing your thoughts, stealing your dreams, stealing your money, stealing your time, will, effort, blood, sweat, and tears. They are stealing it all from you. And they have put into place these massive distractions because more people are becoming aware of the fact that they are taking from us. They are parasites. They are blood-sucking parasites, taking all the best bits away from our life, whilst they push this false narrative, this false hope, this false dream in front of us, this materialistic want, this materialistic world and being, and this strive for selfishness, this strive for this strive for materialistic objects, this strive for, I've got the fanciest this, I'm keeping up with the Joneses, or I'm keeping up with the Sproglodytes on freaking television. And yeah, you're right, Sherry. That's why we're seeing a lot of depression in the world today. Not only is it coming from that, it's coming from the pumping in the sky as well. Lithium. Lithium is a sort of sedative, and it's a mood suppressor. So these dreams and these fucking visions that people want, and the life that they want, they're never going to get it. And they see it. They see that they've put all this effort in. They've gone to university, they've got a piece of paper, they've got their degree, and there's no jobs. Only jobs that they're going to get aren't going to be able to pay back the student loan that they've got. And they're starting to see the world for what it really is. But with this telebox in the corner, they can then be easily led. How many of these little Antifa freaks have been to uni, have got the little university degree, and have been easily led into the way and into the path of the loony left have seen their dreams of having a decent job and having a decent life being torn away from them, and they've been focused on venting their angers and frustrations upon the wrong people, upon the wrong things. This, I think it was Tragedy, Hope and Tragedy. I think it might be that book, but it actually outlines the fact that corporatism was designed in a way to make it look like anarcho-communism or super left-wing communism, super socialism is the only way out, is the only way forward. We've got to take everything from the rich people because they've put the effort in, and they've not. It's not because they put the effort in. It's because they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth and they got all the opportunities. And yeah, that's the lefty argument. But the only way to give people the opportunities that they so desperately need is to take from the rich and give to the poor. Yes, in some circumstances that's all right, but to the Antifa degree or the super far left degree, I think there's even a communist party in the UK now, for crying out loud, the Socialist Workers' Party or something daft like that, and they see that they think that the only way to combat this corporate state that we're living in, that was designed this way on purpose, is to sort of bring in communism. Whereas we see it time and time and time again with communism, that it wipes out the middle class. So you only have the super rich and the super poor. No middle ground. We see it happen time and time. It's what happened in Russia. It's what's happened in China. It's what happened in Venezuela. It happens time and time again. They don't see it. They don't realize it. They don't recognize it. And for sure as they don't understand that it's all by design. Their thoughts, their mentality, their ideology, and their view that the only way out of capitalism or crony capitalism or corporatism is communism was thrust upon them by the government, because the government knows that if it can get enough people to want communism and to want super socialism, that's when the camel's back breaks. That's when you get the super elite and the super poor. That's when you get full governmental control. That's when the proverbial hits the fan. And then you have complete government control over the super poor people that are fighting amongst each other, just trying to make ends meet. And guess what? That's what the elite want. That's what the Illuminati want. That's what the freaking corporatist elites want. That's what our government actually wants. We see all this, they're privatizing the NHS. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, they're doing that. Yes, they're moving more towards fascism because that's what the Conservative Party wants and the Conservative Party is. Now, fascism, don't get it wrong. Fascism is not right-wing. It's a stupid narrative that they force-fed everybody through that television and through their education system, that fascism is somehow right-wing. It's not. I describe fascism in the Mussolini way. And the Mussolini way is fascism is governmental control over private companies and private interests all working together in like a sort of crony capitalism that we've got. Now, I can't remember which historian or which person from history said this, that communism got it wrong because the state takes full control. And once the state takes full control, the state takes full responsibility. So if crisis occurs, the government is to blame, the state is to blame. Now, where fascism changes that is you put a middleman in the middle. You put a private entity, a private company in the middle. So if shit goes wrong, the people turn on the private entity, not the government controlling the private entity, And guess what? That can go away and be replaced with another one. Simple as that. So the government can negate all responsibility for its actions. That's the tiered system that they love, you know, because then you above government, you've got the puppeteers and the banksters and the people that don't care about who runs the country. They just care because they have all the money and the banking sector. And once you control a country's banking, you control its people. It's that simple. If money, everybody's a slave to money now. Money is not the root of all evil. Debt is the root of all evil. Money is a good bartering tool, a good trading tool to have. But as soon as you incorporate debt into the financial system, that's when the root of all evil comes out. That's when people become debt slaves. That's when people get rich off the back of having a bit more money, and get more money, and it accumulates, because then you get interest and compound interest and blah 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 blah, and you have the banking sector as it is today, where it's just printing money willy-nilly, left, right, and centre, just because it can, because it's been totally deregulated for a reason. Oh, fuck it. I'm going to go into this one as well. Usury is the official word for debt slavery. Yes, it's usury. And we see rampant usury. Rampant usury, where these payday loan companies are charging 3,000% interest. And there's the solutions out there. I think I've touched upon the solution a few times, but I might do a solution show, a whole dedicated show onto what I want to do, what I want to see happen, and things like that. But that's for another show. I'll have to do some proper prep for that. Proper prep, and get my ideas in a nice little timeline. Yeah, because this show was more about the television, the media giants, because I've not even touched upon this. All of our news, all the news that comes from the telly, all the news that's in the Guardian, the Mail, the blah, 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 the rags, all comes from two places, two owned companies, Reuters and Associated Press. They are your news source. Two companies owned by the super elites. I think the Rothschilds own one, and probably the Rothschilds own the other in another way as well. But you'll see that the news companies, they will get their news at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. This is what you've got to say. This is the main talking points. This is the news. Now go tell the people the news. And it's all coming from two companies. Those two companies then distribute it out to 4 or 5 or 6 other companies, and then it's spread out through the mainstream media, and it's done that way. And when we see that the media is owned by a very, very few people, very, very few companies, there is no free press. Yes, you might be able to make your own magazine. Yes, you might be able to make your own little local sort of newspaper or news little letter. Or you might be able to do things like this. But the corporate media and the corporate media giant will stomp on you as much as they possibly can. They do not want any form of free press. They know that if the free press actually got out to the people and the people started to report upon things themselves and started to be their own investigative journalists and going to start to, dig into the local councils, when to start to dig into the local corrupt government, when to start to dig into the local areas, the local things and things that are actually happening in the world around them, their narrative falls to pieces. Their narrative, their government-controlled narrative, falls to pieces because the people on the street are reporting. And, I don't particularly know what's the ins and outs and what's going on in the world around me, in the local area, because there's nobody out there reporting on it. There's nobody out there seeing all the drug dealings, all the gangs, all the gang warfare, all the I'm talking about lawlessness and law breaking, but there's better news. There's other news as well. There might be some happy fuzzy kitten news as well that's out there that we just don't know about because there's nobody there to report it. Investigative journalism it's not died. I think it did die back in the 90s and noughties. Investigative journalism did start to die a death. But it's on the resurgence. It's coming back, and we need to get more people out there, more people, joining in, talking to one another, reporting on things, distributing little newsletters, things like that. It will start to shatter the narrative that's being thrust upon us by the telebox, and once you start to get a bit of a head of steam about it, the ball rolls, and it's a very steep hill. People want to know the truth. People want to know fact. Some people want to run away and try to bury their head in the sand away from the facts. But once they get over the fear, they'll start to hunt for the truth. And we can't let government oppress us to a point where we're too scared to try to find the truth. Right. Yeah. So, everybody, let's get out there. Let's get helping. We use Facebook as a tool. We are the ones that use Facebook as a tool to share news articles, to do research, to spread information, and we're the ones that use it and use it in the right way. We know there's other people out there that use Facebook to take pictures of their food, to share pictures of kittens, and to plan, nights out and days out and things like that, and show pictures of what I've been up to today and things like that. We know that there's those sort of people out there, and we need to start to turn them onto informative pages. The Reality Report is a great informative page. You'll get a lot of good little news stories and good chunks of golden nuggets of news stories from the Reality Report. And there's other little pages like that, if people are struggling with debt, because everybody's struggling with debt. It's been thrust upon us. It's been thrust upon us, get a credit card, get into debt. A lot of people have followed the frigging narrative and they've got into debt. Now, there's pages, how to beat the bailiffs, how to beat debt, that are there on Facebook. If we can share these and we can help the people this way, they'll start to learn more. They'll start to become more open-minded. And I've seen it happen. Little things like this are the thin end of the wedge, because as soon as you start to put that wedge in there, put it in place, it'll start to open up the mind to the greater world and to the great awakening. I spoke with an American a couple of days ago whilst I was in London, and he knew of Q, and we sat there and we had this great little chat about Q. And I was like, yes, other people are waking up, other people are getting to know things, great stuff. And yeah, he was just a random person that I met on the bus, and you know, it's the numbers effect. I tell one person, that one person tells another person, or another two people, and the numbers multiply and multiply and multiply and multiply. And there's more people looking and searching for the truth and getting away from the television and getting away from that media narrative and getting away from the goggle box, the boob tube, the programming, and getting away from this life of lies, this life of trying to escape reality. And we see it more and more and more nowadays. You know, people are turning to video games, people are turning to fantasy films, people are turning to sci-fi and fantasy because they want to get away from the facts and they want to get away from the real world that's around them. They don't like it anymore. They might not know that they're escaping to these fantasy worlds because the real world around them's falling apart and turning to shit. They might think, oh, it's just a form of entertainment. It's just a way to, you know, get my mind off things. And I see it happening more and more and more, you know. But these ways that they turn away from the real world is not addressing the issues. It's not finding out more facts. It's not finding out solutions. It's only running away from the problem. And too many times, time and time again, people are running away from the problems rather than facing them head on. That's coming a lot into depression as well, because they're getting this innate sense of impending doom. They're getting these negative feelings. They're getting these problems because they're not looking for the solutions. They're running away from the problems. They're not addressing what the core problem is. They're running away from it. They're turning to alcohol. They're turning to cannabis. They're turning to drugs just to try to get away from reality. Yeah. Well said. You know, but yeah, there are advantages. There are advantages to gaming. There are advantages, or some advantages, to watching, you know, sci-fi movies and you know, fiction movies. You know, it emboldens your creativity. It makes you think more outside the box. The computer game industry, the computer games nowadays are so realistic and so engaging. They can actually be some form of education tool. You know, how many Second World War games are there out there that are rather in depth and rather well structured in the history of events? So if you were going to take your freaking history GCSE, play on Call of Duty, World Wars and World War IIs and stuff like that, and you'll learn the history of the World Wars. You'll know what guns they used. Well, you'll especially know what guns they used because you're using them. But things like that. Also, it helps sharpen the mind. It does. It helps focus. It helps sharpen the mind to problem solving, to adapting to evolve into different situations. Yes, it's also taking away a lot of people's sensitivity and making them less adverse to violence and sort of, how can I put it, more prone to violence, because, you know, this cotton wool that people have been growing up with has been taken off. This cotton wool for the mind, you know. has been taken off. You know, when you're running around killing people, guess what? When shit hits the fan, you're going to be a lot less quivering in a corner when people are running around shooting each other. You're going to be a lot more, let's run around and shoot each other with people. Because sadly, what I see is I do see the shit in the fan. I can't help but see this. You know, the plans have been in place. The plans have been in place for a freaking long time. And who am I to be able to stop these plans that are already in motion? Yes, we can try to damage limitate. Yes, we can try to work together to solve the problems. But the problems have been thrust upon us for a reason. And the problems are very, very big. Yeah. And another thing about television promotes isolation. Television promotes sitting at home with your spouse or alone or with your family and not getting out into the real world and not getting out into a public place and not going to meeting new people. And it drives this enclosure of people. So instead of going to the pub and talking about things with other people, you'll sit and you'll watch telly. You won't. It makes it easier to run away and hide from your problems rather than go to the pub or go to somewhere or go to meet new people and confront these issues that you might be having. It's by design. Why do you think they've dropped the alcohol prices in the supermarkets and pumped up the prices in the pubs? Why do you think that they promote television even in schools nowadays? Crying out loud. Children are learning more from the television than they are learning from their own parents nowadays. This is wrong, people. Really, really wrong. And like I said, it's promoting this closed-minded, this closed community, this isolationism, this your own little bubble that you have to stay inside because you don't feel comfortable going outside anymore because you've been brought up sitting indoors, looking at the television, playing on the computer games. You've been brought up in this little chasm, this little bubble that if somebody bursts, you're out of your comfort zone and you're freaking out. You know, a lot of children nowadays are spending far too much time in front of the television or in front of the computer games instead of running outside and playing. You know, when I was a kid, we used to go to a scrapyard and throw rocks at each other and beat each other up with sticks and stuff. Proper play, proper fun, being a child. Whereas I see children nowadays, there's this frigging, what's it called? Yeah, you might have seen it on my Destroy the Television video. There's this smashed knockdown factory near my house. And if I were a kid, back in our days, we would have built dens on there. We would have made something on there. We'd have been throwing rocks and beating each other with sticks on there, you know, looking for bugs and stuff. But there must be children around here. I don't see any children playing on it. I don't see any children actually having, you know, fun as a child. I don't see any football in the street anymore. I don't see people. I'll walk into town, I'll walk around, and I won't see kids having a kickabout in the street between back alleys like we used to. All because of the television. All by design. To subdue, to subjugate, to make people into programmed little domestic animals. And on that note, a bit of a sinister note, but on that note, I think we'll finish for the evening. So thank you all very much for watching. That was my little show on television. Hopefully we'll do another show another time. 8 o'clock tomorrow. Anybody wants to join in, get in touch. We'll get on Discord. You can join in. You got free reign. Say whatever you want on my show. It don't matter. No censorship here. So, yeah, I'm in two minds whether to start asking for a bit of a contribution to maybe get my technology a bit better, maybe get me a proper webcam, maybe get me a proper microphone, maybe get me something to a better computer of some sort, so I can do some multi-streaming, and maybe I can bring up some pictures and images and facts and figures upon screen. And it is quite taxing. Well, I don't want to say it is quite a bit of effort to make this show day in, day out. But I do it for the love. I do it for the record. I don't do this to get famous. I almost do this as, look, I told you so. I know that's a bit narcissistic. I think it's a bit narcissistic. Yeah, bit narcissistic. But when the proverbial hits the fan, I want to be able to say, look, I told you so. I told you I was right. This is what I've been saying for a long time, you insolent little mooses. I want to be able to say that in a later date. Yes, I know, but I know, it is a quite nice feeling when you turn up to rallies and events and people go, oh, it's Dave Wolf. Hello, I know you. Yeah. When people notice you, yeah, it is quite a nice warm fuzzy feeling. But then you've also got the not so warm fuzzy feeling of, I've insulted Islam. I've insulted Islam on many occasions. And there's quite a few Islamists around here. That's not a warm fuzzy feeling. Yeah, a number of death threats. But fuck them. If they can't handle the truth, if they can't handle criticism, why should that be my fault? Why should that be held against me? It should be held against them, not me. And more people should do it, for crying out loud. We need, yeah. I know my people, I know my watchers, they'll probably do it themselves anyway. But yeah, you can't help but address the people that might be watching in the future. So, on that note, I think we're going to end the show. I might start putting things up on the page to say, help contribute. We don't know yet. Not made that decision. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Have a good night. And maybe see you all tomorrow. No, pork. And now.